As I discussed before, iteration has a lot of applications. It's not just about repeating always the same code to have some action on the program, but we can actually use repetition to, for example, search for a particular value or search for a particular condition by just sampling that condition over many different values and seeing which one is the first one that we like, right? So for example, I have this very simple for loop. It's a for loop that iterates 50 times, and it prints out the value of the number that we're using to iterate squared. So the number multiplied by itself. And if you can see that, this basically constitutes the first 50 squared numbers, the list of the first 50 squared numbers. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, like numbers that come from a pure square form. All right. Now, let's say that for some reason, okay, I was doing some numerical calculations and I needed to find the first square number that is over a particular threshold. So for example, let's say that that threshold is going to be 500, all right? So I know that in this case, I could look it up here, and I know that the first value that is a perfect square number and that is over 500 is the value of 529, okay? So how could I use a for loop to start sampling all these numbers and figure out which one is the first one that satisfies that condition? So let's see a way that we could do that. So let's say that, for example, I'm going to start being more programmatic about these things. Let's say that we're going to define a variable called the threshold, and that's going to be 500, okay? And then here, what I want to do is I'm going to, instead of printing these numbers here, I'm going to check if the value of I times I is equal or is greater or equal than the value of threshold, the value of that variable that I have set to, for example, 500. And if it's true, then I will want to do something. Like, for example, print that one value to the console. All right? So what you can see is that I have modified this for loop, and now what is going to happen, because I have a conditional statement inside of the for loop, this line of code is only going to execute when this is true. So if the value squared is greater than this threshold, so greater than 500, then I will print that to the console. All right? And you can see that indeed, I only start printing after the very first number that is greater than 500. Okay? However, one thing that I may want to do is that I may only want to print the very first one. I may not want to print the whole sequence, right? Something that I should do is that whenever this condition triggers, I would like to print this, but then I would like my for loop to stop, okay? The way I can do that is with a special keyword that is called break. Whenever I use break inside of any structure that is iterating over a lot of things, whenever I call break, what break will do is it will stop that structure from executing, no matter the state of the check, no matter the state of the variables, anything. So what that means is that if at any point I square is greater or equal than the threshold value that I have set, I will print this to the console, and then I will break the for loop, hence not checking any other values afterwards. All right? So, and here you go. You can see that now my for loop is executing all the way until it hits that first value, and then it prints that message to the console. All right? And just to make things a bit cleaner, imagine that I was using this for loop to find which one is that value that is over 500, which one is that square value, because I wanted to use that somewhere else in my program, because this was part of a more complex algorithm where I was searching for a particular value and then I needed to use that value. For me, it would probably not be enough to just print it out on the console. So what I would like to do is I would like to find a way to keep that value in memory forever, right? So that I can reuse it in my program. So what I can do is I can declare a couple variables before my for loop and say, for example, int first square value, all right? And I don't even need to initialize it to any particular value. And I can also initialize another variable called first value. So what is the actual first value that gives me that first square that is over 500? And then when this happens, instead of printing to the console, what I can do is I can say, well, the first value that I found whose square value is over 500 is the value of I, all right? And the first square value is that value, so I times I. Actually, this and this is a little redundant because by just keeping the first value, I know that the square of that value is already, so I don't really need to keep both, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of clarity, all right? And so what I do is whenever I find this threshold value, I keep it in memory as first value and first square, and then anywhere else during the life of my program, I can reuse those values so that I can reuse them for whatever purpose, for whatever algorithm. So for example, I can now here write a console line and I can write a nice interpolated string message like the first square value over the first square number over threshold is first square. And if I execute this program, oh, I have an error. So what happened? Use of unassigned first. Okay, so it looks like the compiler is not letting me use first square because it's unassigned. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to initialize it to a dummy variable. And you can see now that I get the message, the first square number over 500 is 529. That number that I just found by running the for loop. All right. So, long story short, break is very useful when you want to stop the execution of a for loop or a while loop or any other loop that you can think of. And using variables to store information that you have found through using for loops is also a really common technique. Okay. So yeah, that was it for this one. See you in the next video.